This is
Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
The horse, with beauty unsurpassed, strength immeasurable, and grace unlike any other, still remains humble enough to carry a man upon its back. When a service member or first responder takes an oath, he or she has mentally and physically committed themselves with self-sacrifice. From the front lines abroad to the very streets you live on in America, they protect. This oath is non-refundable and it is lifelong. Facing unimaginable dangers and unseen scars, these grounds are a place to recover and face any challenges head-on. As veterans and first responders ourselves, we know that battle all too well. From a simple talk with a friend on horseback to an entire debrief in the barn, this sanctuary has seen recovery take place time and time again. No hour of life is wasted that is spent in a saddle. The way we approach change isn't a new phenomenon. This animal has been with humans over 5,000 years. If you've ever been around a horse for long enough, you'll feel that thing, that electric trust. In that moment, nothing else is in your mind. When they turn into you, it's like the world disappears. We harness that moment to build skills off of. Repurposing requires flexibility, adaptability, and the willingness to challenge assumptions and conventional thinking. This approach can be applied to many areas in life, including business, education, and personal growth. To ride a horse is to fly without wings. This lesson and skills learned at War Horses will help reintegrate back into daily life. You'll learn coping mechanisms, improved communication skills, trust and confidence that will help reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. These tools can be used every day to navigate life and take on many challenges. This may involve practicing mindfulness, setting boundaries, improving communication with loved ones. Transitioning back to society is hard on your own. And when you're at War Horses, you're family. And families solve problems together.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Hi, this is President Joe Biden, and you're listening to Friday Night Freedom with Kaz and that lady.
People buy views, I know it's old news, but also bad news for everybody. People buy views, I know it's old news, but I got bad news for everybody. Holy water is no juice, but I know us Jews, we don't like to lose to anybody. People buy views, but I don't buy views. Don't get no.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Friday Night Freedom. My name is Kaz. This is a presentation of United States Army WTF Moments on behalf of U.S. Army, WTF Nation Radio. That's what we are. What's going on, everybody? James Cannon's here. Baconator's here. What's going on, man? Oh, man. Heath Barlow just popped in and said hello. And what the only thing we're missing tonight is Mom. she's not here. Mom's not here. She's having sick kids in the family suck. I mean, they don't suck. It's just, it sucks because they need extra care and extra, a little bit of extra taken care of. So mom's not going to be joining us tonight. Tonight it's a special night for me. This is going to be my last broadcast, at least for the foreseeable future. I'm sad to go. I hate to go, but I've got things going on in work that are going to occupy most of my free time. So I'm not going to have time to do shows. I'm not leaving the station unless I'm told to leave. So I'm going to be here. I'm just not going to be doing live shows. That's fine with me. There's lots of work to be done to keep the wheels greased on this really great radio station. So I'm going to do my first half of the show, which is just going to be just regular, like they always are. And then I'm going to take a short break. And then after that, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to be, I'll be sharing a little bit of nostalgia and things that I love the most. And then I'll sign off, and maybe I'll pop back in as a guest host or something. Maybe, I mean, if anybody was tuning into, Wednesday night for the Smoke Pit, maybe Radar can move over into Fridays. Who knows? We might get another host and they'll just knock this shit out of the park. But for the time being, I'm going to be off the air. I'll be in the background, and that's just the way things gotta be. Going to be going to some schools. Going to be having, it's just there's a lot going on at work, and I'm getting promoted. And in order to be promoted, I need to be trained. And it's one of those things where you make a name for yourself, and you have a good reputation, work ethic. I can think on my feet. I can learn pretty quickly. And, you look at the job openings, and then you kind of say, hey, I think I want to do that. Chanel, what's going on? I really butchered that name. Chanel? I think that's right. Anyway, what is the answer's always no unless you ask. So we had performance evaluations, and my boss is like, after this pay increase, there's no more headroom for you here. I'm maxed out, and in order to you can sit in that position and not get raises every year, or you can move into this other position. And it's not going to give you any reward the first year, but after that, your ceiling is much, much, much higher. So that's what I'm going for. And something that I have no real experience with. It's project engineer, but everything can be learned, and that's what I'm gonna do. They're gonna send me to some schools, get me a little bit of training, and if I'm okay at it, then the job is mine. So that's what's that. So anyway, so many folks were asking about Mom. Mom's not going to be here tonight. I can put up her name, but she's not here. So Mom's not here. But yeah, interesting days in the news. Big news was yesterday, or last night rather, the debates. I did not see the debates, so I cannot comment on the debates and how they went. I think they were 90 minutes long ish. I've heard that Jeff Fowler says that I sound like Biden just because I'm from what I gathered, from what I've seen in the news, Joe Biden didn't do very well. He started out, according to what's her name, Rachel Maddow, he started out slow and then got better toward the end. Donald Trump started out strong and then kind of faded away toward the end. Oh, thanks, James. Thank you, James. I really appreciate it. Wayne Baconator said he watched The Simpsons. Better candidates there anyway. So the big news was the debate last night between our current president, Joe Biden, and former president, Donald Trump. I do have an audio summary of kind of what happened. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
I know you are, but what am I?
Where am I?
China.
I'm 1,100 years old. I served in World War I.
And I'll be hunting illegal aliens with a fishnet.
I was a hunter-gatherer.
We are renaming New Mexico to No Mexico, by the way.
Gee, Mr. Wilkins, I'll take 2 milks for a nickel.
You're ugly, you're old, and you smell like hamsters.
As far as America is.
Puerto Rico.
Okay, that's pretty much a summary of what happened last night. I heard they both had their ups and their downs, and but the thing is the downs for President Biden were so much that there are already calls for him to kind of drop out of the race. He says he's not going to, so we'll see what happens. And so here I kind of wrote down some thoughts. So here it is. My personal opinion is that nobody needed to see any of these two debates to make their choice. Everyone's mind has already been made up. I think, and this is just my opinion, that the debate was allowed in order to showcase the cognitive decline and frailty of Joe Biden. Why? In order to justify, to have the DNC justify removing the Biden-Harris names off of the ballot and installing another pair of names, probably including Gavin Newsom. I think it would be a great idea after these next 4 years, no matter who wins, to have a serious discussion about allowing anyone above the age of the full retirement age of 67 to run for president. The next 4 years are going to be a shit show. Again, my opinion. But I did look at some data, and I'm just going to throw some of these things out of here. All this data was taken from a website called projects.538.com. 538 is spelled out. If President Joe Biden wins, he'll resign or be removed. In my opinion, I don't think there's any way that he can make it another 4 years. Then we'll have Kamala Harris as our president. She has an approval rating of 39.4 and a disapproval rating of 49.4. For comparison, Joe Biden has a 38.2 approval rating right now and a disapproval rating of 56%. Harris's numbers are slightly better, but in my opinion, she is inept and she's not up to the job. Donald Trump, during the same rating period, has an approval rating of 42% and a disapproval rating of 57%. If Donald Trump is elected, I think the policy side of the House is going to be okay. The domestic shenanigans that are going to pop up will definitely be a distraction. Antifa will be reborn. Protests will happen. And some cities will probably get torched, sad to say. But some people are very easily manipulated and cannot control their emotions. So I think that's what we have to look forward to for the next 4 years. An inept president or someone who tries to get the job done, but there's just a bunch of these roadblocks and distractions thrown in their way. Patrick Lose says, anyone know the average age of a sitting world leader over the last 5 or 10 years? That I don't. I do not know. They're old. I mean, the leaders are generally the older and wiser, or the people that, and it seems like the presidents in the United States of late have been, people that have been just a treasure to their particular party. We are a two-party system. We do have, there are independents running, but dude, when you gather, 3% max during an election cycle, it's not really real. So even though we have more than two parties running, it is a two-party system. The third party or the fourth party or whatever else is running is just meant as not a distraction, but it kind of siphons votes off of another candidate. Kind of like Perot. Perot siphoned a bunch of votes off. a lot of votes off, actually. And then George lost. So, it's really, politics is just funny. It's, and I don't even want to go down the road of the president's really not the president. He's not making the decisions. I guess in this case, for this particular president, I don't know. I don't have any firsthand knowledge, but it just seems to me that President Biden is so mentally compromised that there are, just other people that are making the decisions. And that's just the way I feel. I haven't seen any evidence to contradict that. So I'm going to maintain that position until I'm proven wrong or there's some other evidence that came up. So we're just, we're 5 months away from election day, I guess, 5 months and a couple of days. So it's going to be kind of crazy. It's going to be interesting to see how the DNC handles President Biden's performance in the debate, and it would be interesting to see how they handle it, what they can do. And there were a couple of stories that popped up, just asking the question, what can the DNC do to not have Biden run? I think the first step is to convince him to step down. The second thing, can the DNC recall their he's the nominee. They're the nominees. Biden, Harris they're the nominees for president, but the convention hasn't happened yet. Can they recall their delegates and then just kind of redistribute them, or have the delegates vote again? And then, then they would choose someone like, and I'm just, the cameras were on Gavin Newsom last night, and him and his slick back hair. Would it be him? Would it be, Gavin Newsom and Big Mike? Michelle Obama? I don't know. I don't know who they would throw up there. Who would be? First of all, you would be upsetting the delegates who have already committed. So you'd be just saying, no, you don't really need that, and they take their delegates back, and then they just kind of convince them to put in someone else. I think that if they did put in someone else, I think that the race would be a lot tighter. Right now, if it's President Trump and whomever he picks as his vice president against Biden Harris, I think it's going to be a real ass whipping. I think if they replace Biden and Harris with somebody else, then I think it'll be a lot closer race. Now, another option is President Biden resigns. Kamala Harris becomes the president, and then, wow, my mind just took a blank, but someone else is going to come up and step into that vice president's slot. But that right there would be a whole procedural distraction for the campaign or for the DNC. There would be a whole, they would have to, I think they would have to get that person confirmed, right? This has never happened in my life, so I really don't know how it's going. James Cannon said their issue is timing. They need time to switch all of the money to someone else. Yes. And if it goes to the convention, they might be stuck with Joe. Yes, I think, yeah. But I'm not sure how the convention works. I really don't know. I'm ignorant as far as the way the convention goes, but because I think the delegates have to reconfirm their vote during the convention. So if they change their mind, what's to say? I don't know. Yeah, they would need time to seriously switch gears. Oh man, Baconator. We need Camacho. Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho should run for president at this point. I love that movie, dude. I love that movie. Welcome to Costco. I love you. So anyway, enough about politics. We're going to talk a little bit about gas. farts and fuel. But right now we're going to talk about temperature. What temperature, let's say it's blazing ass hot outside. What temperature do you keep your house at? And I think there's three different categories. When you're home doing things and stuff, when you're away from home and you're at work and there's no one in the house, and when you're sleeping. My personal, and I'll explain these temperatures later, but when I'm at home, I like it, 74 degrees, that's fine. I got the ceiling fans running, that's great. When I'm away, I usually pop it up to about 78 just because I'm not here and I'm the only person that lives in my house. So I don't really need to air condition. I don't need the comfort, but I do like to keep the humidity down. So 78 seems to work pretty well. When I'm sleeping, I pop it down to 69 degrees. I like it cold when I sleep. So those are my personal temperatures. But we've got thermostat recommendations, 78 when you're home, 85 when you're away, and 82 when you're sleeping. And plus if you live in a place that's humid, you really need that air conditioner running. Ceiling fan's not going to do that. Now I know if you're living in a very dry climate, you have the, what do they call it, swamp coolers. Like if you're in the Phoenix area or New Mexico or whatever, it doesn't get that humid there, so you don't need all of that. Okay, now Patrick Lowe says it depends that if I'm at a place that I have to pay for it or not. This is a little bit crazy because I just went through a renewal for my my power company. I was locked in for 3 years. I was paying like 11 or 12. It was like 12 cents. Let's call it 12 cents per kilowatt hour. And it was just a straight, it's just a, no fees or nothing. It was, just straight, 12 cents per kilowatt hour. My typical, and I don't use a lot of electricity, house is 1,100 square feet. First thing I did when I moved into the house, new insulation in the attic, changed out all the doors and windows. And that's about it. That really, the doors and windows that were on the house were installed in 1984 when the house was built. So I had those all changed out. It's all brand new. And that helped out a lot because when you buy a house here, and I've never bought a house really anywhere else. I did it in Ohio, but here in Texas, you get to see and you can pull up like old electric bills, old utility usage to see kind of how much is it going to cost me to live there. And it was really expensive. The person ahead of me during the wintertime, their electric bill was around 200 something. Their electric in the summertime was around 150 to 180. After I made all of those improvements in the house. Oh, I also got a brand new air conditioner with a heat pump. That also helps out a lot. What's up, Ranko? So just changing out the air conditioner was huge. It was a huge improvement. I went from like a 12 SEER to a 16 SEER. Very, very efficient. And I also put a slow start system on there. So I'm just, my startup current is like 20 amps and my run current is between 4 and 5 amps. It doesn't use a lot of power. So I run it a lot. The thing is with my electric company, it's now, they changed it. They changed their rates. So now it's 13.6 was the best that I could get. So I'm paying 13.6 cents per kilowatt hour. I use around 1,000 to 1,100. If I use below 500 kilowatts, which usually happens in the wintertime, because my house is very well insulated, I don't need to run the heater. But if my usage drops below 500 kilowatts, then my price per kilowatt goes up to like 19.9 cents per kilowatt hour because the power company is no longer going to be losing money. Between 500 and 999, it's like 15 or 17 cents per kilowatt hour. And then if I go above 1,000 kilowatt hours, which I usually do, I get a $100 credit from the electric company, and then the rate drops to 13.6 cents. It's really, really crazy. Yeah, I grew up without air a lot. Most of my growing up was in Wisconsin, so we really didn't need it too much. There were the hot days, but it was mostly pretty manageable. But I'm down here in Texas, so you got to be running that AC. Anyway, that's I guess that's all I got. So I just can't believe that when you're home 78 degrees. I think if you had fans running, that's okay. 78 is probably okay. It's doable. Especially if like me, I spend a lot of time outside. So if you're outside and it's 100 degrees like it has been the last few days, you go into a 78 degree house, that feels pretty darn good. 85 when you're away, that's reasonable. 82 when you're sleeping, that's a no-go, man. That's a no-go. Baconator says, I think it's interesting how Texas has power outages a lot, but Texas has about every kind of energy source that there is. It is infrastructure related. It's good that you mentioned that. There's just, we have wind, we have sun, and we have coal. We have nuclear. It's just, there's a whole lot of, we've had a very large increase in population. I think that might have something to do with it. More people moving here, more people using their AC systems, and more houses going up, more apartment complexes going up. It's a bigger drain on the grid. So in the wintertime, when we had those problems a couple of years ago, it just got colder than it really should in Texas, and it stayed there for a long time. So all of our gas-fired, our natural gas-fired electric plants, they froze. So they weren't able to generate any power, so the grid failed. That's been alleviated. We had a pretty mild winter last year. We had a couple of days that were below freezing. I don't think it reached 0. I don't think it went below 10. And even if it did, it wasn't very cold for very long. So we'll see what happens this year. I don't know. Heath Barlow says the heat index was 110 here. I think the problem is here as far as the heat goes. I'm in the north central Texas area, Dallas-Fort Worth. What happens, or what the problem is when the temperature doesn't go below 80 at night. It just makes that next day so much hotter. So we were like at 100 or 102 yesterday, but it didn't get down below 82 degrees outside. And then you start the day, it might drip down into the high 70s, but then as soon as that sun pops up, it gets hot pretty quick. It doesn't give the atmosphere time enough to cool down. So let's talk about some fart tax, and you might laugh. You might laugh when I say fart tax. In an effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by a whopping 70%, Denmark has introduced the world's first fart tax on agriculture. This requires farmers to pay for the greenhouse gases released by their sheep, cows, and pigs. So according to CNN, livestock farmers will be taxed between $43 and $108 per head of livestock per year. So I guess they did the math. They're like, a cow on a typical day does this much burping and farting, and sheeps do this much burping and farting. Someone actually went out there and measured burps and the weight of methane in their burps and farts. Would you like that job? What do you do? I measure burps and farts. So, this is, that's a lot of money, but this is a rate that the farmers agreed upon. They agreed on this because they have, I guess they're unionized, and they have, there was negotiations between the government and the farmers union or whatever, and they agreed on this rate. Hasn't been thrown into law yet. This was tried in New Zealand a few years back, and it fell flat on its face. it went back to the drawing board to figure out how they can do this more equitably. And I don't know that. I think this is just going to force, farmers to maybe get rid of their cattle, get rid of their sheep, get rid of their pigs. It's not going to. And then you'll probably see that it didn't change a damn thing. We've got so many freaking cattle in the United States. Imagine having 1 million head of cattle, and you've got to pay, $108 per head of cattle for carbon offsets or whatever they call that shit. I thought it was pretty bizarre. Denmark's a pretty small country, but to have something like that, don't think that politicians haven't thought about this stuff here in the United States. Yeah. What about all the tax on private jets to environmental conventions, or like Taylor Swift? There's a what is that? Me and Pookie talked about this guy, the guy that just makes little funny cartoons, and it's about Taylor Swift. She walks out of her house, she gets into her jet, she flies to freaking Starbucks, and then she flies back to her house. but there's whoever that person is that tracks the ADSB traffic, or who knows whatever her code is for her planes, just looking at her flights, just really, really short flights, from somewhere in Kentucky to Nashville, which is like less than an hour. Nuts. So speaking of gas tax, gasoline, like for your car, for your truck, for your tractor, for your lawnmower, gasoline by itself isn't really that expensive. It's the taxes that make it that way. Effective 1 July, that's this year, these 7 states will increase their already high taxes on 1 gallon of fuel. California, their tax on a gallon of fuel is going to be about 69.8 cents per gallon. It's the highest of all the states. Colorado is going to increase it to 27.9 cents per gallon. Illinois, 67.1 cents per gallon. That's the second highest. Indiana, 56.1 cents per gallon. Missouri, 27.5 cents per gallon. Nebraska, 30.5 cents per gallon. In Virginia, 40.4 cents per gallon. And that's the tax. That's not the wholesale cost of the gasoline. So funny that, that there's this big push for electric vehicles. There is, and I don't own I have an EV. I don't own an electric vehicle. It's just a hybrid. So I do use gas, and there's no added costs for me to re-register my vehicle every year. But I've heard that if you have an all-electric vehicle, a plug-in electric, there's like a $400 surcharge per year to register your vehicle because you're not paying the gasoline taxes. The government needs to recoup that money somehow. You're not paying those gas taxes, so I don't know that I don't drive very much, but I don't pay $400 worth of freaking gas tax a year. That's nuts, man. I don't know how the, someone just sat at a conference table and they're like, nah, these numbers look good to me. They just, do a little bit of math and average things out and say, yep, $400 seems good. Everybody agreed? Yep. Nobody gets to vote on it because it's a committee and it's an unelected committee of people. So yeah, that's about it as far as that goes, man. That's just nuts, dude. Gasoline. And we, for a while, and I think this was maybe a Biden administration thing, they gave, gas prices went down, like, largely. I was paying, it was down into the high ones, 193, 195. And then it just like overnight it peaked, or it popped back up to what I just put gas in my car today. What was it? $2.15. I want to say it was like $2.15 or $2.16 or something like that per gallon. I know that like the average is $2.50. Some places are a lot higher. Of course, the more taxes you pay. Yeah, it's just but the gas prices were going down for a little while, and then all of a sudden they dropped drastically. And I think that was one of those, they were just like suspending some kind of fee or an excise tax or something. And now it's going to go back up. I mean, this is July 4th weekend. We got Independence Day coming up. Actually, July 4th weekend is next weekend. It's kind of weird, 4th of July is falling on a Thursday. So we get a paid holiday for Thursday, but got to go back to work on Friday. So everyone's like, everybody. I mean, I'm on vacation right now. I'm getting ready to take a trip. I'm going to go see my brothers. I'm going to go see my parents. And then I'm going to, come back to good old Texas. And, what's crazy is my mom's like, bring a sweater. You know how moms are. So I'm like, why? She goes, it's still kind of chilly up here. And I looked and I'm like, dude, their highs are like 63, 65 for the high. Dude, our lows are like at the best there in the mid 70s. Hey, those are nice words, David. I appreciate it. He said, hi, Kaz. I know it's your last day. I'm checking in to say it's been a pleasure having on WTF Nation Radio these last few years. Wishing you the best of luck on your future endeavors. I appreciate it, man. But don't forget that we got shows 6 nights a week. Let me check this out. We got the Sports Bar on Sundays. Monday edition is on Monday. Pop Culture Warriors on Tuesday. The Smoke Pit is on Wednesday with Radar and TZ. Sergeant's Time comes back at you on Thursday. And Friday's not going to be Friday Night Freedom anymore, but guess what happens? Pop Culture Warrior has started FTX, and that means something. It's gaming. If you look, it's a FX, and then there's a table up there. That T is a table. Tabletop gaming. And he's going to be doing that on what was my off Fridays, like tonight. So tonight he's doing tabletop gaming. If you go to Pop Culture Warrior tonight, he's doing gaming right now. So after I get off here, I'm going to be heading over there to go and check out Mike and the boys doing gaming and stuff. But yeah, we don't just have a show on Friday. We got shows all the time, and you're always welcome. Everybody's always welcome. Tell your friends. I think we've got a great radio station that has a lot going on, and it's something that fits for pretty much everybody. So yeah, David, I definitely appreciate you being here, and everybody. I need a friend. I'm new in Facebook. Hi, Hillary Williams. Yeah, Gary, but no Friday Night Freedom. But the thing is, before I did Friday Night Freedom, it used to be called Friday Night Fuckery, and it was Redleg's show. So good things happen. He went from Friday Night Fuckery to Friday Night Freedom, and then he stepped aside, and he's doing the business side of the house. And I did. I was doing broadcast with John Owl for a while, and we just resurrected after John left. I still wanted to do radio, so here I am doing. I just reimagined it. It was called Kicking It with Kaz, and it was me and John doing the show. And then John left, and so I said, "Hey, let's just relaunch Friday Night Freedom." And new logo was made, and here I am. So who's to say, man? It might be it might be Radar, it might be somebody else completely different. But yeah, man. But we grow and evolve. You can't just have the same thing all the time, man. You got to evolve and get better and get different. And I don't know. Good things are going to happen, man. I'm just stepping aside for personal reasons, but who's to say I won't be back? maybe this job just ain't going to work out. And I'll as long as if I go back to a regular job, I don't see a reason not doing a show. Maybe I'll get used to the position I'm in and I'll have time to do a show. Who's to say? I can't tell the future. So anyway, let's on with the show. On with the show. This is kind of an interesting story, and it has to do with HPV, which is extremely serious. So I'm gonna start talking about HPV. So I'm not a doctor. The following medical information was curated from WebMD and cancer.org. In the next story, I'll be talking about HPV. HPV stands for human papillomavirus. HPV is a common sexually transmitted infection which usually shows no symptoms and goes away by itself, but it can cause some serious illnesses. HPV is responsible for almost all cases of genital warts and cervical cancer. It's responsible for 90% of all anal cancers, 78% of vaginal cancers, 28% of vulvar cancers, and 50% of penile cancers. Women can be screened for HPV. It is usually done during a pap smear or pap test. There are no approved tests for men. There are vaccines available. While there are 4 vaccines available, the FDA approved the use of Gardasil 9 for males and females aged 9 to 45. If you are ages 27 to 45, please discuss your need and risks with your healthcare team. So, the reason I said that is just because there's a story that follows this. Okay, a woman claims that her partner, named Martin Browner, negligently infected her with HPV after they had sex in his 2014 Hyundai Genesis. She claims that Browner was aware that he had HPV, but neglected to inform her before they had unprotected sex. This resulted in past and future medical expenses and mental and physical pain and suffering. So in February of 2021, this nameless woman filed a $1 million claim against Browner and his insurer, Geico, claiming that she should be compensated for bodily injury under the car's insurance policy. Geico refused to pay the claim, arguing that the injury did not occur during the, quote, the normal use of the automobile. So what do you think about that? You think she has a case? I personally don't, just because I think there's so much abuse of the legal system. You can sue anybody for just about anything these days. And, it's all in the wording. And I think that's what she's kind of hanging her hat on. So a judge ruled that, quote, upon review of the parties' arguments, the court finds that consensual sexual relations inside a car do not constitute a use of the automobile within the meaning of the subject policy. But this woman and Browner appealed to the Eighth Circuit Court to have the district's court decision reversed. The couple contends that the language of the insurance policy was so broad as to justify her injury claim stemming from her HPV infection and subsequent development of brain cancer. Their brief cites how a Missouri arbitrator awarded somebody $5.2 million, finding him liable for negligence. Mo and Browner engaged in sexual activity in the Hyundai Genesis at least once as of December of 2017. She claims that and we're just going to restate whatever the case was. But under the Geico auto policy, bodily injury means bodily injury to a person, including resulting sickness, disease, and death. That's the actual text in the Geico insurance policy. Mike Braithwaite's here. What's going on, man? He says, hello, all you slackers. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, my logical brain says, no, she doesn't have a case. But Lawyers can work some magic, man. Lawyers can definitely work some magic. I mean, well, she is suing the dude. She's suing the dude's insurance company, though. She's not suing him. She's suing the insurance company because she received bodily injury in the car that was insured by Geico. So I see the logical jump there. And this is personal injury money. So even if she does get a settlement, it's going to be tax free. I'm kind of well versed on settlements because I accepted a settlement and it wasn't employment related and it wasn't bodily injury related. So I had to pay taxes on money that I never received. Pretty cool, huh? So there's probably most of you out there that live in states that are marijuana friendly recreationally. Texas is now a state that is a medical. You can use medical marijuana here if you have a prescription, but you can't go to a dispensary and buy something like a liquor store. It's not recreationally available. Here's the map. The mapola here of excellence. Red means completely restricted. Blue means medical. Green means everything's legal. It's recreational and medical. So if you look at California, California's completely green. But California, were they one of the first? I think Colorado was the first to make it legally recreational. But California was the big one. It's like the most populous state. And there was this, I mean, they got, Humboldt County is there, and it's just like, it's like the pot haven. That's like the mecca for pot growers is California. It's not my thing. It doesn't mean that I don't support legalization. I do. I think it ought to be legal across the board. Regulate it, tax the shit out of it at about the same level as alcohol. And at the same time, do some medical studies and figure out, everything that it does to the human body, both good and bad. They do it with cigarettes. I mean, do it with marijuana too, please. It's been has it been descheduled? I think it's not scheduled at the same. It's not the same as heroin, but it's still it's still I think overscheduled. Anyway, so here's the map of the level of legality for marijuana in the United States. Red, of course, means completely prohibited, which is two states, Nebraska and Idaho. Medically allowed is blue, of course, and green means legal, medically and recreationally. Anyway, Vince Ning, who is the CEO and co-founder of Nabis, who is California's largest pot distribution company, which interacts with every single pot retailer in the state, says he looks across California's legal weed industry and he sees a market in a very long, drawn-out freefall. So I read that paragraph and I'm like, why? He says it's like a wave crashing in slow motion. People thought that the big crash was about to happen in 2022, but things just continued to get worse in 2023, and it's still even worse in 2024, and things aren't looking to get that much better. The latest data confirms Ning's point of view, which signs of economic trouble nearly everywhere you look. Overall sales have been falling for the past 2 years. The number of legal cannabis growers and brands have decreased more than 70% since legalization first went into effect. A recent report found that pot companies owe the state more than $730 million in back taxes. That's just in California. And they'll likely never see that money. A lot of those companies that owe that money have already folded. Also, very, very few farms are opening, even in places like Humboldt County, the original capital of cannabis cultivation in California. I think maybe some of this has to do with the economy. When the economy goes to shit and you're not, you're laid off, it's really weird because this kind of overlays the downfall of the pot industry is kind of overlaying with COVID Because COVID was 2020, and it's just kind of moved on. California was kind of prolonged because they got so many weird things going on there. So shops were closing, restaurants were closing, all the pot farms and whatnot got kind of wrapped up into that. So I'm thinking and I'm hoping that maybe it comes back. But I mean, if you're in a household, and I'm saying like you don't treat like your household like the government. The government just prints money. If they're short on money, they just print money. But if you're in your house, if I'm in my house, and it's like, okay, guys, you took a pay cut or you got laid off. Time to trim back all the spending. So guess what, dude? I might eat a little bit more ramen. I might not go out to eat quite as much. I might drive less. I might, try to, rebalance my insurance policy. See, shop around, see if I can save some money. I'm gonna trim the costs. So I'm thinking and I'm hoping that if you're in California and you like to smoke marijuana recreationally, and the purse strings have to be tightened, that's one of the things that you kind of omit. I mean, you don't need it. Nobody needs it. Does it help? Sure it does. Is it fun? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's lovely. But what I'm hoping is, because it's expensive as shit to live in California. With rents going up, dude, these folks out there are paying $3,000-$4,000 a month in rent for for kind of a shithole. How many hours do you have to work? I mean, if you take the amount of money that you spend on things and stuff, if you translate that into how many hours do I have to work to afford this, it kind of brings the cost of life into play. So, it helps. It really helps. That kind of opened my eyes when I did become an independent adult and doing adult things, is to translate the things that you want into how many hours do I have to work in order to afford these things. And that, it kind of puts things into perspective. California had such a great opportunity with the legalization of pot. Lots of revenue for the state, lots of revenue for businesses. It was going to be a great thing. I think Colorado is still doing it pretty well. Montana just got it. New Mexico just got it. Who else was new? Missouri? Missouri just went full, recreational and medical. It just seems to me that it looks like everyone's getting greedy. It's not just the business owners, but the government. Over-regulation has cut into the profits of the businesses, and the business owners are opting to close their doors. California has a 7.25% sales tax. The sale of cannabis products incur a 15% excise tax. These fees are never seen by the businesses and are passed on to the customer. Some of these fees are incorporated, but not entirely. Depending on the value or perceived value of your cannabis business, the application fee is $1,000. Once approved, the licensing fee is between $4,000 and $120,000. And this is before a single gram of marijuana is sold. Different states have different fees, and all of them are mind-boggling. In no particular order, Illinois, New York, New Jersey are the worst, for obvious reasons, probably. Which brings me to my next point. Billions of dollars of cannabis is being grown, packaged, and sold at illegal stores that often look like fully disclosed and licensed dispensaries. It's still cheaper to buy pot off the streets than it is at a licensed dispensary in all of the states. Wasn't that one of the main reasons to legalize pot? Got to get rid of the Mexican cartel weed. Get rid of all that illegal marijuana. If we open up a legal pot shop, people are going to go and shop at the legal pot shop. They're not going to buy it from somebody down the street. Well, that's cheaper to get it from somebody selling it off the street. Banks, hundreds of billions of dollars are in the United States alone, need to be laundered because of this. I mean, they can't use banks. There's going to be a Netflix special. There is. Or something on Hulu or some kind of documentary that's just going to talk about the inner workings of the marijuana industry and just how corrupt it is. It's as corrupt as, and this is my opinion, it's as corrupt as a cartel providing marijuana as opposed to the state providing marijuana. Yeah, they're taxing the shit out of everything and it makes it more expensive. Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to take a very, very short break. I'm going to come back. We're going to reminisce a little bit, and then I'm going to sign off. How about that? All right. You guys hang in there. I'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. And, all right, shots. Bye.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
I think the hardest part of being gone is knowing you're alone tonight. I wish I was by your side. This road I'm on, it has no end in sight. I'm feeling so alone tonight. I wish I was by your side, 'cause I need you. Do you need me? And I can feel you from miles away, as these white lines, they guide me tonight in all directions, but where I wanna be. So save me, 'cause I can't save myself. I'm waiting, I think I need some help. I know I left you mid-September, summer's gone and the leaves are falling up again.
I think the hardest part of being home is feeling so alone tonight. I wish I was by your side. This road you're on, it has no end in sight. I'm feeling so unknown tonight. I wish you were by my side, 'cause I need you. Do you need me? And I can feel you from miles away, as these white lines, they guide you tonight in all directions, but where I want you to be. Please save me, 'cause I can't save myself. I'm waiting, I think I need your help. Oh, I know you left me mid-September, summer's gone and the leaves are falling off again. Touch me, never let me go. Hold me, make me feel at home. Touch me, never let me go. Hold me, make me feel at home. Please save me, 'cause I can't save myself.
This is Randy Couture, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio.
Take your hat off at the table, keep a Bible by your bed. At 45, under your pillow won't stop a devil, man. Round here, if you want something done right, you gotta go and do it yourself. Oh, you won't find your way to heaven unless you go through a little hell. So come on. Never cuss around the ladies, no. Keep it southern with a hell of a drop off. If you get tired of the smoke, you can chop off. That's just some things that I learned from my paw. Pick up bad habits if you ain't ready to cut them loose. If you talk more than you listen, you'll never know more than you do. Yeah, the dollar and the devil live together somewhere in hell. Out there fishing that lake of fire, boy, you don't wanna end up there. Nuh-uh. Never cuss around the ladies, nuh-uh. Keep it southern with a hell of a drop off. If you get tired of the smoke, you can chop off. That's just some things that I learned from my paw. Quit the job until it's done. Never let a problem set with the sun. Never break a promise to someone. So come on. Never cuss around the ladies. Keep it southern with a hell of a drop off. If you get tired of the smoke, you can chop off. That's just some things that I learned from my paw. Never cuss around the ladies. Keep it southern with a hell of a drop off. If you get tired of the smoke, you can chop off. That's just some things that I learned from my paw.
I think Friday Night Freedom is quite a stupendous show. I wish Cause the best of luck in the future.
All right, we are back for part 2 of Friday Night Freedom. The last part of Friday Night Freedom for the foreseeable future, because I am taking a leave of absence to work on myself professionally in the job that pays me money. This has been a great ride, man. This has been a really great ride. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've had an opportunity to do a lot of really cool things and to meet a lot of cool people. Mostly veterans, some not veterans, just people that have the veteran cause in their hearts and souls. And I'd like to thank some people. I'd first of all like to thank U.S. Army WTF Moments for allowing Red Leg to start a little podcast. And he used to do this from his house. He just had a room dedicated in his house, and this man started out with a show. And then he started doing 2 shows a week, and 3 and 4 and 5 shows a week. And it was at a point of time in my life. I was just coming off a divorce. I've been in Texas forever. I moved, I went and contracted overseas, moved to Ohio. Things didn't work out, got divorced, moved back to Texas, and just looking for something. Of course, Facebook was a thing. I signed up with a little Facebook account, and I just started surfing around and looking up military and veteran related things. U.S. Army WTF Moments popped up because I ETS. I'm a very old school dude, man. I ETS'd in '96. None of this shit existed back then. So I'm looking for something to keep my interest. I didn't get involved with. I just became a customer of U.S. Army WTF Moments, and then I don't even remember what day he went live on, but he'd play music, drink some beers, and just talk shit. and it was great. And then the crowd started gathering, and it gained more popularity. And, he went from doing one show, and then he's doing 2 and 3 and 4 shows. And then it was just Red Leg. Red Leg was WTF Nation Radio. And then, we started bringing other people up on staff. That's when Ice came around. That's when I came around. He asked me, he's like, hey man, do you want to do, cause Red Leg was doing all kinds of cool things, Drink That Tune. And he was just, he was looking for something. So he's like, you can come and be a part of the show. You can be the producer. I'm like, okay, what am I going to produce? He goes, get me some guests. So the first guest that I was able to get was Allie Spagnola. And you can look her up. She does some really fun stuff on YouTube, man. She's got a YouTube channel that's just bananas, man. It's really cool. So I got her. And then we did Amory King. We had Amory King come on, and I'm like, man, this is pretty cool, So I stuck around for a little bit. So I'd like to thank WTF Moments for giving Red Leg the opportunity to do this, and we've made, and I can say we because I've been a part of this for 8 years, 9 years. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. Of course, I want to thank Red Leg for launching the station and turning it into the great community that it has become. We've got some great fans, and we've got the OGs, the ones that have been here for a very long time. But every time we do a show, there's always someone new that comes in and says, "Hey, man, I heard about you," or "Hey, I clicked on this link and it brought me here." And for if that's you, man, thank you for checking us out. This might be your cup of tea. It might not. But thanks for showing up. I'd like to thank WTF Nation Radio for the privilege of being a part of the team and on and off the air. I haven't always been on the air. I think I was off the air for a good couple of years before I actually went on the air. And then it was only during like a Drink That Tune thing. And then I got my own show called Kicking It with Kaz. With John Owl, and then I did the Friday Night Freedom thing up until tonight, and I think I've been doing this for a few years. It's been great, man. It has been awesome. I've interviewed some fantastic people. Let me see. So here I got some pictures to kind of show y'all. So the first thing, thank you to WTF Nation Radio for the privilege of being part of the team on and off the air, but we've been doing some really cool shit. These are pictures from during our first. This was within our first year. We won Best Warfighter Radio, and there was an award show in Phoenix, and we went and accepted our award. That's Raptor 7 and Red Leg there. That's me with the safety with PT belts on. There may or may not have been some alcohol involved in that entire evening, but it was great. That was really a great experience down there. So after Phoenix, we're just going kind of chronologically. We did Freedom Fest in Boulder, which was a fantastic experience. I think the main page, U.S. Army WTF Moments, they ended up renting out or like Airbnb an apartment in the uptown area of Denver, and we packed that full of people. And it was just great. And we did we called it the Freedom On Fest, and it was kind of hey, we are veterans, and this is what we do. So we did this. We didn't do a show there. We just kind of, and I say Red Leg ended up, he relocated WTF Nation Radio Studios to Boulder for our first real, on-site or off-site broadcast. This is the first time that I ever met Mom and Spanky and Pi. Matt Best, Evan Hafer, and Eli Cuevas were there shortly after Black Rifle Coffee Company started experiencing success and monumental growth. They were there. Gold Star spouse, Rachel Richardson was there. It was awesome to meet her. What a great lady. Mindy Robinson, and we later got Randy Couture on the air, which is her husband. Adrian Estrella and the boys from Assuming We Survive. We heard some of their music earlier. They were there. All That Remains was there. Dude, there was such, have you ever gone to a club for a show and there was such a good vibe? There was like nothing bad was happening. It was just like everybody was there for the same purpose, and it was just fantastic. So Adrian Estrella, who was the lead singer of Assuming We Survive, is now in a band called Zebrahead. So if you want to hear Adrian do his thing, check out Zebrahead, man. They're a great band. Who else was there? A professional skateboarder and rallycross driver, Bucky Lasik, was there. Got to meet him. Brandon Saller, who was the lead singer for Atreyu, was there. D-Max was there. I got to meet D-Max. And Doc Madness was there. Got to meet him. And many other veterans and veterans organizations. I would also like to thank War Horses for Veterans. War Horses and Veterans, early in our station's existence, invited us into their home. Pat and Andy basically said, come on, come to War Horses for Veterans. We had to fill out the application, fill out all of our information. They bought the plane tickets. They paid for the hotel. We got to invade their home and set up and you'll see this in the little few photos that I've got. We got to set up in one of their office rooms, and we got to do a Friday Night Freedom show from one of the rooms at War Horses for Veterans. It was so great. I couldn't find all of the pictures that are there. They had, hot tub pool, little cabana house, and we had such a great time, and it was such great camaraderie. And it's changed a lot since then. This is years ago. This is, more than 5 years ago that we were there. I'm sure their procedural things that happen within War Horses for Veterans have changed. They've got a whole new, arena and just great things. So War Horses for Veterans is a 501c3 that helps combat veterans, and they do it with equine therapy. And it's one of the most amazing places that I was at. And this is years ago, and they've only gotten better. So if you're a combat veteran, if you're, you can put in an application and have you and your squad, you and your team, go there and spend a weekend there. It starts out, you fly out there on a Friday and you fly back to wherever you're from on a Sunday. And it's nothing but an immersive experience around horses and working around horses and experiencing these animals that are just amazing. It's so cool. It's so cool. WarHorsesForVeterans.com. Please check them out. And with that, I just want to say that, thank you. Thank everybody for putting up with me. I'm not a professional broadcaster. I'm just a dude with a computer and a microphone and a camera. And I show up and I talk shit, and sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. And I appreciate everybody, putting up with me. And the station is great. We've got a lot of great shows. And I just want to tell you, this Sunday is the Sports Bar Mondays, the Monday edition with Ice. Pop Culture CQ comes on Tuesdays. Smoke Pit with Radar and TZ is on Wednesdays, and Sergeant's Time is back on Thursdays with Ice and Spanky. And this is me. I'm kind of waving goodbye, man. But hopefully, at least on every other Friday, you're going to see FTX. FTX is going to be there, so check out. Go to Pop Culture Warrior on Facebook, and he's probably got the live video already pulled up. So give him a like if you don't already have a like on his page, and then click the notifications for whenever he goes live. Anyway, I thank you very, very much for your patronage, man. I love you all very, very much. Like it's never ending, dude. I really appreciate the support that the veteran community gives to itself. And if this is something that you like, thank you very much. We do our best. And I love you, man. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you when I see you.
my friend came to the door. She said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong, it's popping. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no. So the girl come downstairs. She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular amongst birds singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
Let's see it.